Hello everyone and welcome to Metro TV. I'm your host Andy Hoig, CEO, publisher of Metro Magazine and SpiritofOmaha.com. I have a great show today for you. We will be talking to the Ollie Webb Center, also the Durham Museum, and Susan Koenig. So don't go away, we will be right back. Well, I'm here with Lori Ackerman. She's the Executive Director of the Ollie Webb Center, and Jim Hoggett, the Artistic Director. We've got a couple things of production coming up that we're going to talk to you about, Jim, in just a moment. But Lori, tell me about the Ollie Webb Center and what is your mission and what do you do?
Absolutely. So the Ollie Webb Center supports individuals with developmental disabilities and their families. And so we have a wide array of programs and services to do that, from very direct support services, for example, helping people find jobs in the community, helping them live independently in their own homes. We have a very large continuing education department. Jim will talk a little bit more about that because it kind of piggybacks with our Art of Imagination program. We do mentoring services. We do family services where we support the parents as well.
And how long has Ollie Webb Center been around?
Since 1952. Combination.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, we're a merged organization, but one piece of our program has been around since 1952.
Okay.
So a long time.
Yeah, a long time, but doing really wonderful work in the community and helping so many people. So should we talk about the production?
Sure.
The upcoming production?
Yeah,
Tell me about that.
This is, I've been with the organization for about 10 years,
Okay.
and I've seen it grow. And our specialty, at least in the theater world, is theater with people who have disabilities and don't have disabilities. So we do inclusive theater, and this production is called metroTV. It's a Russian folktale, and we have theater artists, like I just said, with and without developmental and intellectual disabilities. So we have hired professional theater artists to come in and perform and write and direct and create wonderful theater. And then we also have actors and other theater practitioners who don't have or who do have disabilities, and we're created a wonderful production. We did a play last year called The White Gander, and this play's called metroTV. And again, it's a Cinderella story about a young woman, and she has a wicked stepmother and some evil stepsisters who just treat her awfully. And of course, in the end, she's the happy one and gets everything she wants. And it's a wonderful story.
So how do you select, how do you select these?
We have an audition. Or do you mean the actual play?
The actual play, yeah, I'm curious about that.
That's the writer-director of this play is Jill Anderson.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she's wonderful, and she actually wrote and directed our last year's play. And she actually came up, she did research and came up with the play, and we decided, because last year our play was an Irish folktale, we decided we wanted to go with a similar formula, and she decided to do a Russian folktale.
Well, and it was kind of happenstance with our music director, if you want to say a little bit about Olga.
Oh yeah, Olga Smola, who is an associate professor at UNO, and she's from Russia, and she's amazing. She's a wonderful violinist and a music professor, and she's knows lots about Russia and Russian culture, and so she's come in and helped us a lot on the play, not just as a musician, but also as a sort of a culture specialist.
Okay.
Well, and the wonderful thing about our production as well is that it's very inclusive on all sides of it. So the back end, so we have a costume design class, for example, that we have, and they are creating a lot of the costumes that are going to be a part of the show. And then under the guidance, so for example, Olga has done a great job of saying, nope, that's not Russian. You need to make it look like this. So they're very involved in all that behind the scenes. We have some individuals who just prefer to be, on the back end, stage hands and so forth, and learning about all aspects of doing a performance like this, lighting, sound.
And that's how our continuing education program gets involved with the production too. We have a prop design class. We have, like you said, a costume class, and they actually create the props and the sets and the costumes for the production.
Yeah, to me this is like really unique because these are also these are productions that are created in a unique way for.
It is unique, but it's becoming less unique in that this type of theater is really spread around the country, and we've modeled our program on the Interact Center in Minneapolis. And since we've been doing this type of theater, it's grown even in Omaha. There's the Circle Theater, Francelou's theater company. They do theater without barriers. Y Arts is doing all kinds of workshops. the Monroe Meyer Institute, they do wonderful theater workshops as well. So it's growing even in the Omaha area.
Ours is probably the grandest scale production.
Yes,
so
definitely.
it's something that it's
Absolutely.
not just for family and friends of individuals in the production, but it truly is a wonderful piece of theater.
Yes.
People were blown away by the production last year, so we're hoping that more people want to even come and see it this year because it's going to be a great show.
Well, speaking of that, when is it?
November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. That's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
It's 7 o'clock on Friday and Saturdays and 6 o'clock on Sunday. And it's at the Scottish Rite Theater at 20th and Douglas. Yep.
Yeah, which is a beautiful,
It is a beautiful
facility.
theater,
Yeah.
wonderful
Yeah.
backdrops to work with there too, and
Yeah.
they've been a great community partner with us as
Yes.
well.
How can people buy tickets?
They can go online, so we have an Eventbrite link that people can connect with. Just go to our website, they'll be able to connect there and pay through PayPal and so forth. And they can also pay at the door too, if they desire that.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit just before we end about Honey Sunday, because that's
it's that
coming
time
up.
of year as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a long-standing tradition. I actually just did a little research for this coming into here. I know it had been going on a very long time. This will be the 55th year that we will be doing Honey Sunday in Omaha. And actually,
my goodness.
Yes, it actually started with our Grand Island ARC chapter here in Nebraska.
Okay.
And their local JCs helped them sell a lot of honey, and then it expanded to all of the other, which were an ARC affiliate here in Omaha, and expanded to all the other chapters. And so we've been selling honey, I joke and say, since the honey was in glass jars, but now it's in plastic jars. So it's a great way, just supports all of our programs and services, and it's a great way that we get a lot of other community partners involved. Boys Town helps us sell a lot of honey door to door, so if you see those volunteers out, please hopefully buy some honey from them. Some local storefronts will also help us or let us sell honey that day, as well as a lot of businesses will sell too.
Okay.
So.
Okay, that was my question, is where people can find it, door to door, storefronts. Can you buy it online?
Yes and no. I mean, basically they can contact our office and we can arrange for that.
Okay.
So that would work too. But most of our honey is sold that day, door to door, or like I said, that following week throughout at businesses and so on. So it's $6 a jar, 2 for $10, and so on. So the more you buy, the more you save.
Okay, and so if people want to know more about Honey Sunday,
they can just go to our website. So there's information there. We're still looking for volunteers. We have, our core volunteer base, but there's always some people say, hey, nobody ever comes to my neighborhood, so we would welcome anybody who would like to sell in some of the other neighborhoods. So we have the whole city mapped out for that. And
and website again is
www.olliewebinc, OLLIEWEBBINC.org.
Okay. Thank you both, Lori and Jim, for
thank
coming
you
on the
for having
show.
us. We
I'm
appreciate
excited
it.
for the production.
Absolutely, and buy a jar of honey to go along with all of your fall cooking and so forth. So.
Yeah, such a wonderful organization doing so much for so many in the community. So
thank you so much. We appreciate this opportunity.
Thanks.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Andy.
And we will be right back. I am here with Jessica Brummer. She is the Director of Communications with the Durham Museum. Jessica, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So we're getting into the holiday season, which is a big time at the Durham Museum.
Yes, it's
So-
our biggest time of year.
I know, and it's really, it's like the most magical
It
time of
is.
year.
I always tell people, if you're finding it hard to get into the holiday spirit, a visit to the Durham Museum will turn that upside down.
It will get you there.
Yeah.
So let's just talk, before we go into kind of the holiday activities, well, let's talk about the 2 exhibits on display right now.
Yeah, so we kind of have a unique situation where we have 2 temporary exhibitions right now. The first one is called Louder Than Words, Rock, Power, and Politics.
Okay.
And it is on loan from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So it looks at our country's history through the lens of rock music.
Okay.
So there's artifacts from over 60 different artists featured in the show, everything from instruments to stage costumes. And it really looks at some important things that have happened in the world and American history, but all about how music has impacted those or reacted to those. So it's a very cool exhibit. We just opened it up, so a great time to come down and see it.
And when does it run through?
That one is open until February 2nd.
Wow, okay, so it's there for a while.
Yeah.
I need to make sure I get down.
Yes, it's very cool. And like I said, the benefit right now is we have two, so they run kind of coinciding. The second one is called Race, Are We So Different?
Okay.
And this exhibit is open through January 5th, but it is all about, it was kind of the museum's way of commemorating the Red Summer of 1919 and the lynching of Will Brown that happened here in Omaha. But this exhibit is really all about creating a community dialogue around the issues of race and racism, the history of those, but also kind of the modern day impact. And it's been really great so far. We've seen some wonderful conversations come out of it, and that was really our hope for that exhibit. So right now, if you come down to the museum, you get to see both of those exhibits.
Yeah, wonderful. So let's, you know, it's November and we're getting into the holiday season at the Durham. Like we said, it's very magical.
Yeah.
So just walk us through kind of what the happenings.
So for those that have maybe never been before, we celebrate Christmas at Union Station, and that is a tradition that dates back to the early 1930s. So when our home, Union Station, was a train museum, Union Pacific would bring a tree in from the Pacific Northwest by train, all the way from the coast, and put it in the middle of the station, decorate it, and have a series of community events around that. We continue that tradition today. So we harvest the tree locally. So we had, this year we had about 50 people that contacted us and said, we have a tree that we'd like you to consider. And we go out and we look at them all, and we have our tree picked, and in just a few short weeks here, we'll be working with a crew of Union Pacific, Terry Hughes Tree Service. All of these vendors come together to help us harvest our tree and bring it down, and that's really the centerpiece of our celebration. We do our tree lighting ceremonies, kind of our first big official event, the day after Thanksgiving. That kind of kicks it all off. Yeah. And then there's a whole host of family events, concerts, different things going on throughout the month of December.
Let's talk about who decorates the tree, because I mean, I've been there, and I mean, it's a huge tree, and the ornaments are the ornaments, like, do you use the same ornaments every year?
We do. We usually add to it every year. And these are not your typical, buy them at Target ornaments. These things are like the size of beach balls. They're huge. The tree is typically around 45 to 50 feet tall. Yes. And so our ceilings in the Great Hall are 60 feet. So it is a massive tree. But we have a team from Mangelson's. They have helped us for over 20 years coming in, and they donate their time for a whole week and decorate the tree and make it look magical. And it's a ton of work, but it's, like I said, it's a lot of fun. You smell that fresh pine in the museum, and you see that beautiful tree, and you're instantly in the holiday spirit.
So, like you said, the tree lighting ceremony is the day after Thanksgiving. What time do activities kind of start that day?
Yeah, so that event is from 4 to 8, and we light the tree around 7 o'clock. But leading up to that, we have cookie decorating, we have live music, we have a scavenger hunt around the museum. Santa, of course,
I was going to say Santa.
Makes his first appearance of the season. And then, we lead all that up to about 7 o'clock. We turn off the lights, we do a countdown, and then we flip the switch, and the lights are on, and then they remain on for the rest of the season.
I mean, I've been there many times for that tree lighting, that kickoff.
It's a tradition for a lot of people.
It's amazing. So let's talk about like memberships, or what does it, if you're a member, what does that mean? If you're not a member, what does that mean?
Yeah, so our memberships are really affordable. It's $60 a month for a family membership. So when you divide that over 12 months, it's about $5 a month.
You mean it's $60 for the year?
For the year, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes. And so it gets 2 adults and their dependent children or grandchildren into the museum. It's 12 months of free admission to all of our exhibits, all of our events. So it's totally worth it. Now's a great time because you could gift it to someone for Christmas or get yourself one. But yeah, it's a great contribution to the museum, but you get to enjoy everything we do all year for free.
Which you do so many amazing things. So give us a website where people can go find out more information.
Yep, so it's durhammuseum.org.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to the holiday season coming up because, again, it is a tradition for so many people. It truly is magical down there.
Yeah,
so,
thank you.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And we will be right back. Well, I'm here with Susan Koenig. She is Executive Life Coach and Counsel of Koenig Dunn. And that's your law firm, correct?
That's right.
Okay. Susan, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thrilled to be here.
You are our game changer in the October issue of Metro Magazine. And first of all, thank you for sharing your story. You really, as women, we do so many great things, but it's kind of, as you go through life and you had a calling to do something in addition to your law firm. So let's talk about some history. Like,
sure.
Who are you, where you came from,
Yeah.
bringing you into starting a law firm.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Omaha, and when I graduated from law school, if you can picture the early 1980s, I was a woman, and I'd been a bit of an activist, so finding employment wasn't easy for me. And in 1983, I found myself becoming a solo practitioner and a mother in the same month. And so that's how I started my being on my own. And today, the law firm has 10 lawyers and 10 support staff. So that was my beginning in law.
And then somewhere along that journey, you had this calling to be a life coach.
Yeah, it really was a calling, Andy. I've loved my career in law. I never thought I would do anything else. When I read a description of what coaching is, at a time I had never heard of it, I thought to myself, this is me. I could so do this. This is going to be my next career, which is a really crazy thought that I had, or intuition, some might say.
And what year was that?
That was right after 9/11.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so it was September of 2001. So I had enough interest that I began getting trained and eventually enrolled in a coaching academy. While I was studying coaching, I began coaching people. Once I started coaching people, I loved it so much, I knew this is all I want to do with the rest of my life. And so I've been able to do that.
And how do you, your article in this month's issue talked a little bit about how you're able to take that coaching, you can blend it into your law firm and help the people that are in your law firm?
Yes. What I saw I had always loved about being a divorce lawyer, which is what we do at Koenig Dunn, is helping people look at the life that they're moving toward. What is it that I want to create? And how am I going to go along this journey, along my path, being true to my values, remembering what's most important, remembering my children matter, remember that I want to think long term, and I need to keep moving forward one step in front of the other, and I need support. I can't do this alone. So that's what I always loved about being a divorce lawyer, and then I realized, oh, that's what I get to do as a coach.
And I think too, like with your clients that you work with, or I've worked with, it really is important to be able to ask those questions versus it just being this kind of, whether it's a tragedy or whether it's a challenge. I mean, divorce is not an easy thing to go through,
Right.
regardless of whether it's, applicable or amicable
Right.
or not. So able to help those people ask those questions because there is life beyond divorce.
Yes, and I've been divorced, I've
Yeah.
been widowed.
Yeah.
And I know that anytime you have a big life change, moving forward is very frightening and
Yeah.
uncertain and unpredictable.
Yeah.
So having someone to serve as a guide and who creates a space for you to just to allow
Yes.
yourself to look at these questions. What is it that I really want for myself and for my future?
And I love that, creating a space, because so many of us do not have that space in our life. We're
Right.
just kind of like this, and it's just one thing to the next to the next. And I
Yes.
understand having that space open to just be able to be you and to be able to think and to be able to add things or just live in that
and
space.
where the agenda is yours,
Yes,
whereas
yes.
not what your employer wants, not what your
Yeah.
children want, not what your partner is pressuring you for, but
Yeah.
really, what is it for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about, first of all, your TED Talk. You mentioned that you did a TED Talk was it 2013?
That's right.
And prior to that, your husband had passed away?
That's right. John died 8 years ago,
Yeah.
and that was the biggest eulogy I had ever given. But I had given my first eulogy 30 years before, almost 30 years before, when my father passed away, and had become my family eulogist.
Wow.
So I had learned a lot from giving these eulogies about what meant for a meaningful life, what brought a meaningful life to someone.
Yeah.
And I saw that it wasn't necessarily our big achievements and our biggest goals met.
Yeah.
It was often our most heartfelt moments, our kind acts. And so that's what inspired that TED Talk.
Yeah. Let's talk about your brother. And I know you're very supportive, involved, and you have a party every year, Night of 1,000 Stars, but he passed away from AIDS
Yes.
in 1994?
Yes.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah. So this year marks 25 years since Tim
Wow.
died. And he was a great teacher to me about life and about dying.
Yeah.
We were 8 children in our family. I was 5th and he was 6th. So we were very close. And Nebraska AIDS Project, which had supported him, has an annual fundraiser, Night of 1,000 Stars. And every year I host a pre-party for this, where my friends come
Yeah.
and my family come, and we honor Tim, celebrate, and raise some money for the good work of Nebraska AIDS Project.
This is totally not in our talking notes. What did his death, what did that mean to you? Or how did that impact you?
It was my first experience in really deep grief.
Okay.
And really knowing what it meant to not feel like getting out of bed. And because I've always been an optimistic, positive, high energy
Yep.
person. And so this was the first time I'd faced that truly in my life. And it woke me up to how much we have to grieve in life when we're going through a change.
Right.
And watching him on that journey
Sure.
toward death made me realize what mattered most. Our Wednesday night trips to the grocery store and to have a little bite of dinner, or those conversations, listening to some music together. It was those ordinary moments that made
Yeah.
life so precious.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to lose sight of that when we have big careers, big lives, busy lives.
Yeah.
And so he taught me so much.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to add to the conversation?
I just want to say that the great joy of getting to do what I do as a coach,
Yeah.
both within the law firm at Koenig
Sure.
Dunn, and I work with a lot of nonprofit leaders and business
Yes.
leaders, is that I know that everyone wants to make their greatest contribution. Everyone wants to know that their life matters. And that's what a coach gets to help them to do, is to see what that is for them, what their unique contribution is. And so it's just the best job ever.
Yeah. And everybody's different.
That's right.
Everybody's different. One person how they want to contribute is completely different from another one. And I think being able to guide all kinds of people, it's just not a cookie cutter.
It's not. It's not. We each have our unique contribution to make.
Yeah. So how can people follow you on Facebook, or how can people connect with you?
They can check out my website, coachkoenig.com.
Okay.
They can read my blogs at the Koenig Dunn website, and other great blogs too.
Okay.
Would love for people to be in touch.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you again for sharing your story in this edition of Metro Magazine.
Thank you for having me.
You're
it's
welcome.
my great joy.
Yeah.
Okay, take care.
And we will be right back. Thank you for joining me today. I encourage you to like us on Facebook, Metro Magazine, all one word, and voting for your favorite charity event starts November 15th. We look forward to seeing you back here next week.